Guerilla, I think is the right term, because, some of this stuff does feel very gimmicky, but it's actually pretty effective. 42% of millennials get influenced by guerrilla marketing campaigns online, and 50% of consumers say guerrilla marketing is an effective promotional tool. Like, it does get awareness. It does get your product out there.
Hustle smart, dream so wild, turn that grind into a joyride.
All right. So I want to talk about today something that we did kind of out of like desperation. We've talked in previous episodes
Desperation?
how like, yeah, for sure. Desperation.
What do you mean? Maybe like ingenuity or like
it's pretty much
burst of creativity.
I'm going to coin a new phrase. It's desperation marketing. Nothing else works.
Please buy it.
For goodness sakes.
They're going to take my thumbs.
Yeah.
My children need wine. Okay.
So if you remember when we ran our company App Armor, we read the book Inbound Marketing, which talked about like blog posts and social media and driving, sales that way. We actually hired somebody to do just that. And we got a goose egg of sales. And one of our insights was that we had one of the incubators actually here in Toronto who told us to get lost. The one little nugget of advice that we got from them was that you kind of have to sell to clients the way they want to be sold to.
Yeah, that's in the book,
right?
Yeah,
that is in the book.
Yes,
so one of the things I was thinking about the other day was, what did we do when that happened? And we went kind of old school, even back in 2014, 2015. This was still considered very old school, but we actually started mailing postcards.
Direct mail. Yeah.
Direct mail. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a couple reasons why we did this.
Yeah.
If I may, really quick, being
for sure.
sort of marketing guy at App Armor.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to know what incubator dumped us, that's in the book as well. But anyway, so when we were doing that, there's two things. One, I was coming from a major telecom, and the telecom did a lot of stuff by paper, so I actually kind of understood how to do this. That was one thing that was important. The second thing is that I knew that it actually kind of worked, because the weird thing about it, and I think this was actually really work, especially right now. So if you're listening, this might be a really good nugget for whatever the hell your business is that there's a lot of noise online. It's really hard to get someone's attention. We just did an episode, last week about social media and like social media ads and that kind of thing. And I think a lot of what we saw there was that, it can be hard for a lot of things to get any traction.
Yeah.
But the direct mail, the thing, especially in B2B sales, I would argue, and like B2B markets where there's like one decision maker or like a handful of decision makers, is you can reach people at a moment of quiet. Oh, didn't see you there. I'm just reading Startup Different, my book to help you get to your multi-million-dollar business. You can find it on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. So where they're doing something else to get mail at their office.
Yeah. So they're going through like, I have this mental image of like, those things where it's like a bunch of mailboxes in an office, and everybody's got like their name with the little like label on the shelf.
Isn't that an inbox?
Yeah. No, I think of an inbox as the one that's like on your desk.
Okay, whatever.
The bulk inbox at the main office. Anyway, so you go in, you get your like stack of mail, and you're going through it, and you're probably tossing everything. And our little postcard was addressed to them, and like somehow we put something on that postcard that made them actually kind of read it.
It was wild. We would get phone calls from people being like, I would like to try out your digital mobile app prototype. And they got this insight from reading a snail mail postcard.
Yeah.
Like the when you think of like conversion friction, like how difficult it is to get someone to respond to an ad, that's got to be astronomical.
Yeah.
Like versus like conversions now when you're right on the purchase page for some products. Like we were never going to be like that with App Armor, but to imagine somebody taking those steps, like that's genuine interest.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And,
it's like validation right away.
We had competitors then too, and I don't think any of the competitors were doing that.
No way.
And our clients were very old school. They were kind of like, that was comfortable for them.
In their 40s and 50s
a legit
and 60s.
thing. They actually send out mailers.
And they were in the office, right? Because physical safety was always there.
Yeah.
So even during we didn't do it by the pandemic years. But I'm confident, actually, we still would have gotten a lot of response because they had to go to the office anyway during the pandemic.
Okay, so this is old school, but another term for it is guerrilla marketing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like inexpensive, kind of like non-traditional.
Remember everything went downhill on so the internet has this, the internet has this thing where, Harambe, the gorilla that was like shot at the zoo in 2019.
No.
Because it like some kid like fell into the gorilla pit or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this
really?
was a big deal. And like they killed Harambe even though like whatever. And this is like the start of like the negative, like I was actually way before the pandemic. I think it was like 2016, 2015 or something like that.
Yeah. So it's not gorilla like the animal. It's GUE. Like,
I know. It's fine.
All right. Thanks for taking.
I just like to hijack what you're trying to say.
Tangent my idea
where
right into a black hole.
I'm sure there was somebody as a guerrilla marketing tactic that got an actual gorilla. I guarantee it.
My gosh, that's brilliant.
There's got to be a zoo out there.
We should mail plush gorillas and say we're using a guerrilla marketing tactic.
No, now it's like a dad joke, but back then it was good. Anyway,
all right, whatever. Okay, so then the other piece I wanted to put out there is our other foray into guerrilla marketing was we had a referral program. And the way it worked was if you're an existing client and you referred us to another client, we would give you a $500 donation towards safety initiatives at your campus, at your school. And we would also give $500 off the referee, the person that got the referral, if they bought a safety app from us. And the way we actioned it was we went on Vistaprint and we printed up, I think they were like PVC signs, but it
was like a really big lawn sign.
Yeah, but we made it look like a check. Yeah. Okay. Like a massive novelty.
It was the biggest one we could get. I think we could have probably done better, but it was the finest, cheapest solution. Yeah. It was big, but I'm sure you could get like somebody's making big, giant fake checks. So you get on like The Price is Right or something like that.
They were like $50 each to make those checks.
Were super.
They were not cheap.
Oh, I think that's pretty cheap.
And then we put like the actual check. We like taped it onto the back.
Yeah, onto the back. Yeah.
And we kept the box that Vistaprint sent the sign to us in so that we could actually then ship it to the client. So we would then ship it to the client and they would, so obviously they would get their $500. They would be all excited that they're going to use that for some sort of safety initiative on their campus. And get it to tell everybody this stuff. But then they would also take a selfie with the huge check and send it to us, which we would then use on our marketing.
It's like OG user generated content marketing.
Yeah.
Like we were sending them a giant check that they would almost guaranteed do a photo of and put on something.
Yeah.
Social media, their website, both, whatever.
Yeah.
And actually what was kind of cool too is I know a few cases where like I'm thinking like Dalhousie, they did it a couple times actually, and they used that money to do something cool on campus.
Yeah.
Like they actually like funded their like, walk home service for like, I don't know, like a year or something like that, using that money.
$500.
$500 it's mostly volunteers. So it was like really, really cheap. But anyway,
Okay, cool. So I want to give you a couple of examples of bigger companies doing this kind of stuff.
Hang on. So is the point of this that we're trying to tell our lovely audience like good ideas for guerrilla, or just going through like cool guerrilla marketing because it works? Is that what we're doing?
I want to tell you I want to get to the elements of making this work.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Because I do think I
have some as well. I can think of some off the top of my head that are pretty good.
Keep in mind, we're startup different. So I think doing marketing differently is right up our alley. And
there's nobody listening today who everyone should be interested in doing marketing differently.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you be?
Exactly. So don't get ahead of me. All right. So cool. I got two more little examples I want to show you. Okay.
Hot dog.
So Heinz, did you ever hear about the phone case that Heinz made? Like an iPhone case that they came out with?
No.
Yeah. I'll show you a picture of it. Probably get this up there.
Man, this is my buddy Dan for sure.
It's got a little holder so that you can put your little packet of Heinz ketchup at all times.
But like, what if you sit on it? I like that it's not remotely practical. I like that. That's good.
But that's an awesome gimmick. Apparently, you could order this thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's
fun.
I think that's what makes it really good when you can do the thing, like whatever product they come out with. But
okay, so then the other one is in La Gare de Lyon, which is this train station in Paris. IKEA put all their sofas in there for people waiting for the train.
That's a good idea.
So you could try out IKEA sofas.
That's nice.
And like that seems
it's a good
awesome.
idea. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. And actually people like the sofas. So
can we go back to Heinz for a second?
Sure.
So I'll shout out my buddy Dan again. But he one of the things they did really well on is Webster's was doing word of the year.
Okay.
And they hijacked the competition, as so many internet competitions are hijacked for, like Bodie McBoatface and all this stupid shit. But this one was, they showed up with a giant mayonnaise box to do mayonnaise as well. Show this big, and they were trying to take over the word of the year for moist. They wanted moist to be the word of the year. And they put this giant mayo bottle, and like influencers were going up to this giant mayonnaise bottle in front of the Webster's Dictionary building, taking like selfies of it, doing videos, and it like absolutely killed. Amazing. And now recently they're doing the mustard campaign with DJ Mustard, like Mustard on that beat, that guy. And like, because there's a Kendrick Lamar song where he goes, Mustard. And so they were all over this. And so good for them, by the way. It seems like a pretty obvious sign, but like he's coming out with like this like line of like jewel encrusted mustard. Like it's not like it's anyway. But yeah, they've done some fun. I think it would be really fun to run an advertising department where your job is just to win awards. You don't even have to sell the product. It just sells. It's just mustard. But like, anyway, whatever.
Absolutely. So like this episode, I didn't want to call it gimmick marketing. I wanted to call it something else. And Guerilla, I think, is the right term because, some of this stuff does feel very gimmicky, but it's actually pretty effective. So apparently 42% of millennials get influenced by guerrilla marketing campaigns online, and 50% of consumers say guerrilla marketing is an effective promotional tool. Like it does get awareness. It does get your product out there.
Well, it's inherently differentiated. Like it's different than every other ad that's out there. It's not just something you're seeing in your doom scrolling.
Yeah.
You actually notice it. And probably, I think there's also an element of enjoyment. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people, like, if you were to ask the average person, do you like ads?
No.
Okay. I remember, have you ever read, Confessions of an Advertising Man by David Ogilvy? It's really interesting because he's like Madison Avenue, amazing advertiser. Okay. And at one point in the book, he's like, I'm just so surprised that people, I don't know what he sounds like, but that they mute the TV when the ads are on. Like to him, this was unbelievable because for him, advertising is almost like artistic, and interesting. Okay. Right. But I think we're very far from that time now. And frankly, there's just so much more advertising, I think, even than 10 years ago or 20 years ago, that when you see something that you don't perceive as an ad, but instead is something, a fun event or fun stunt or fun thing, you're like, I like this. And it also happens to be kind of a brand awareness thing or perhaps even a specific offer for a company. Yeah. And you like it more. It's just not a stupid ad like you see every day.
I always think of Seth Godin. Yeah. One of his really early books, Permission Marketing, is like the greatest advertising is advertising that's perceived as a service.
Yeah.
But in this
Same
case,
idea.
It's more like advertising that's perceived as like entertainment.
No, but entertainment is a service.
Okay.
I think it's the same.
Okay.
I think it's I'm right. No, but like I think
violently agreeing here. Yeah.
I think a lot of time though, people, especially a lot of founders of smaller companies, when they think about their advertising, are very literal. This is what it is. This is what it does. And maybe this is the benefit. Yeah. But I think that really what you want to do is something that's entertaining. Yeah. Go through my day and do something fun. And I'm way more likely to buy your thing.
So it's
make me laugh, man. Just make me laugh for 2 seconds.
Yeah. So I got a good quote here.
Chewbacca noise in the background of your ad. I'm in, let's do it.
Knowing who your client is and what would make their life easier, engaging without the sales pitch.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that's like the key nugget there.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't feel like a sales pitch.
You're being sold to, but you don't know it. Or you do know it and you don't mind.
It's a funny thing. You're getting some entertainment value out of it.
Okay.
So actually, there's some academic research on this. This is a topic that is being researched now. So
the good people of Heinz University. Okay.
So like any good business thing, there are 3
Here
aspects.
We go. Sick. Yes. Is it a book? Right? Is it from a book?
I probably, but don't ask me which one. Okay. I think it's actually a research study. Okay. So what are like the attributes of like effective guerrilla marketing? So first one, no surprise, is it's got to have a surprise.
Okay.
There's got to be a surprise effect to it. You got to see that big bottle of mayonnaise. You got to see that phone case with the ketchup in it.
Okay. I can get behind that.
That's a surprise. That's something that I wasn't expecting. There has to be a diffusion effect, sort of like a word of mouth spread.
Yeah.
So like
organic
I
virality.
get that phone case
Yeah.
with the Heinz ketchup and I go out for brunch with you and I'm having my breakfast potatoes and I pull out my phone case and I, then you're going to be like, whoa,
That's like,
then you're going to tell people
that's
about
like
that.
word of mouth organic. But I think and a lot of times like social organic would replace that, like
Right.
at a scale that's way greater than just me
So-
seeing you put that on your breakfast potatoes like you did this morning.
Yeah. So like the influencer taking the selfie in front of the mayo jar and like
Yeah.
posting that on
User
social
generated
media.
content is supposed to be like the holy grail of social media advertising.
Yeah. Now here's the one I like the best. The
Okay.
attribute I like the best of this
All
stuff
right.
is there's got to be a low cost effect.
What do you mean?
Well, it can't be that expensive.
The thing or the ad?
The whole thing, the whole ad, the marketing spend on the Guerrilla marketing effort. Okay. So I don't know how much it costs for a massive jar of mayonnaise, but
in the grand scheme of things, and is it dependent on like the return on investment? Like let's say you cost 10 grand for that bottle of mayonnaise. I'm just making
like I don't know what Hellman's, is it Hellman's mayo or is it another brand? I have no idea.
I probably also Heinz mayo.
I
bet I could find it.
We'll
find an
that.
image of it. We'll put it up.
We should bleep that because we haven't paid us anything.
Yeah. Send
plug.
money.
But I would love to know what the data says about their like sales. Do they actually see more people buying mayonnaise or ketchup or whatever while those campaigns went on? Because like if you think of the market for ketchup, that's a huge market. So if you can move the needle 1 or 2%, that's a huge amount of money. And making a phone case that has a ketchup sleeve in it, it's probably pretty inexpensive for the amount of of
so
sales
it's an
bump
our ROI conversation then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or ROAS, I guess, like we talked about last episode. But okay.
Cool.
Well, one thing I was wondering on the first one, the surprise, how much is it like surprise versus like shock, being shocked about something? Because some ads are just weird. They're just strange. Maybe they're not Guerilla though, I guess, in your context. But I guess I sort of wonder, like, does it have to be like delightful? Do you know what I mean? Like using like specific like emotional things here. Is it something that's like positive? I think of surprise, maybe it's
surprise
just,
being positive and stunt being kind of like negative.
possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Something that, because I think some advertisements that are really effective sometimes can be pretty negative. But like, you know what I mean? Like, or they're like, what is it like? So oh God, I'm getting all over the place, but it's like, you want to do one of two things, I think, in advertising and in entertainment in general. You either want to express some sort of fear that's very palpable to the person listening, or to, in this case, the buyer, or you want to express something aspirational and positive that they could become, that they can believe in. Right. And I think that if you do one of those two, you're going to be successful in whatever advertisement you're doing. Yeah. I think really what you get out of guerrilla marketing is you get genuine interest and genuine eyeballs. Do you know what I mean? Like we talked last episode about sort of like buying eyeballs and how it's not always great, depends on what you're doing and that kind of thing. What I think about Guerilla is I think of it as more sort of a just people are genuinely interested.
Can I give you some words? Can I say like maybe it's aligned with your brand values as Guerilla versus a gimmick is more like that shock effect where it's not really aligned with your brand values. You're just trying to get eyeballs.
So where does bottle of mayonnaise fit into that category?
Yeah,
like,
tough one, right?
That doesn't seem like what are the brand values of a ketchup company?
Yeah, I'd
make them
say it's kind of gimmicky. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah. Hey, but it works though too, right? I bet it, to your point, I bet it had a really, really high return. There's no way it couldn't have. So.
Yeah, I think about the IKEA one. Okay, you're actually giving people a place to sit while they're waiting for their train. That's probably a whole lot more comfortable than train station chairs, right?
Yeah.
So there's actually a bit of
that's actually
alignment.
Legit. I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's true.
The ketchup thing.
Do you ever hear of?
Right?
I have another good IKEA story.
Okay.
Just really quickly. So years ago, there was this. I can't remember what year. I think pre-pandemic. There was this thing where at IKEA's, there would be flash mobs who would play hide and seek in IKEA stores.
What?
Yeah.
That's
so
weird.
I don't know if these flash mobs were very big, probably like 20, 30 people, something like that. Yeah. But like kind of weird. And so for a while, IKEA was like, don't do this. Like this is like liability and we don't want people like running in random parts of our store.
Oh gosh.
But then they just started leaning in. They started
they did?
Yeah. They started going for it. They were
then
like,
all of a sudden it's not cool.
Yeah. And then
nobody wants to do it.
Actually, yeah. If a brand wants to kill something, just say, yeah, go for it. Us too, And but anyway, but I thought that was kind of interesting. it's kind of like a fun, like they made it guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
I don't know why people were doing it in the first place. I guess it's just like a general thing for IKEA, but they turned something that was negative into a positive. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question on cost. Okay. So your buddy Dan works in a marketing agency and they do this
basically
kind of
like
stuff.
the Dan episode.
Yeah, it is kind of the Dan episode.
Yeah.
But like, is part of their pitch to clients about doing these types of guerrilla marketing stunts, whatever campaigns, is it cost effectiveness? Is it like, this will get you more for less? Is that their?
I think a lot of the time, so he's in-house, right? So that he's an in-house agency that does all this stuff for Heinz.
Okay.
So when I actually think that, so I have two thoughts. One is that anybody who goes through advertising school, whether you're at a college or university or whatever, you do copywriting, the thing they're always going to tell you is, right, that we have this is the campaign, this is the product, give me 150 ideas. And they do a lot of like really crazy and interesting brainstorming on that. I think there's actually a lot of the value of agencies is these are professionally creative thinkers. Okay. Yeah. And so they come up with all this crazy stuff, and then sometimes they get the yes on it. But the reason I think for them, what they're trying to do, they are trying to win awards. I think they are trying to say, we are a really, really good agency. We have a really spectacular product, because their product, I don't think it could be much more mature than ketchup.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're right. Moving the needle even a 0.5 percentage point would be really material. But for them, like, I'm sure there is at some point a conversation on return. Yeah. But I do think that most of the time for them, it's prestige.
So was that Dan's idea by any chance?
No.
No?
I have no idea.
How did you not pull that off? Come on.
I don't know. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun idea, but
do you remember, like, oh boy, like 30 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, Heinz did the green ketchup?
Yeah. And the purple.
There was a purple ketchup?
There was purple. We had purple at home. Yep.
Oh.
I didn't like it because it was purple. As a kid, I was like, I don't want to eat this.
But like,
I don't think that works now. I think there's a real aversion now to, even you see on the Heinz ketchup bottles will say only like 3 ingredients or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a real aversion now to added ingredients. And I think if you were to be like, oh yeah, here's like, doesn't the red dye that we had as kids is like a carcinogen? Like red dye 44 or whatever. Yeah. We're like, every kid birthday cake and everything. And like, Jesus Christ.
How does the ketchup get that red?
It's like, tomatoes.
Are they
if you know red? How ketchup gets red, call in now.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, whatever.
Anyway, but I think it's. Can you go back to the stats? How effective? So you said 50% of people would like it.
Yeah. 50% the other of consumers say guerrilla marketing is an effective promotional tool. 42% of millennials get influenced by guerrilla marketing campaigns online.
What does that mean? 42% get influenced. What does it mean to be influenced?
I have no idea. I hate this stuff in marketing because is that conversions? Did they buy a bottle of ketchup?
Like,
did they
influence?
Do anything with it?
That's a huge number too.
Yeah.
42%. So it's of people that see the ad. So almost half the people that see the ad are influenced by it. So maybe that means they share it or like it. Maybe that's what they're trying to get at.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's when you get to that virality and the virality coefficient, like how many one person shares it to how many others.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. I don't really know, but all I want to say is that I think when you are thinking about advertising, you have to do something different. You have to do something to get some attention. For us, it was like postcards and big checks. Okay.
Yeah.
For other companies out there, like if you're just going to do the exact same thing that everybody else is doing, it's going to be really hard for you to gain any attention. So
it's really hard too. There's a gravitational pull to doing ads similar to your competitors. I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah.
I think it's because you think, well, maybe they know something you don't. You're going to try and do it. But I actually
they don't.
No, they don't. And here's the other thing that what I would consider for a lot of people, especially for smaller brands. If you're you got a couple million in revenue would be ideal, but I think you can do this at most sizes. Is take risks with marketing.
Yeah.
Do these things. Don't do the normal ads. Do something weird. Get something out there, and I think you have maybe a better chance of success. I'm not promising anything, but if you do something that's like, yeah, here's my banner ad, here's my, try it now.
Put my logo on.
Put my logo on it. They'll make the logo bigger. Like that's not really going to do it. But I think being more aggressive and creative, I think of products that have done really well, regardless of Guerilla or otherwise, like Liquid Death, right?
Yeah.
Like took it's water, but took a category that is like always about purity and like all these other things, took a totally different angle, and actually leaned in as hard as they could, and they did really well, right? So
Yeah, the opposite strategy, I think, is what that's called. Like, do the opposite of what apparently Norway's tourism board did a marketing campaign of why they hate Oslo.
That would do well in Canada for Toronto. Why the rest of the country hates Toronto.
But then everybody in the rest of the country is going, yep.
It could be funny as it sucks. You know, like it'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Anyway, but,
so we like the Blue Jays.
Yeah, we do. Canada's team, right? But,
yeah, right on.
But that's an interesting take. So I think kind of like the conclusion there is like, yeah, like take gambles, push it, do something different.
That's the place to do it.
And you have very little to lose when you have almost no brand equity anyway. And you'll find too that bigger players don't want to take those risks because they created so much brand equity.
Right.
There's very few brands that I can think of like off the top of my head that are willing to risk a lot all the time. I think of like Red Bull. Like, you know, when they they're willing to, they're going to do it because they're kind of extreme. So they're going to do extreme stuff, right? On mission, to your point earlier. So anyway, but I think for your smaller company, that's where you're going to get visibility and traction. Spend the money on it and give it a shot.
So there it is, your foolproof guerrilla marketing.
Yeah. Playbook. Doesn't involve an actual gorilla. R.I.P. Harambe. All right. Thank you, folks. Peace.
Start it up. Let's get it rolling. Big ideas, money folding. Hustle smart, dream so wild. Turn that grind into a joyride.